Silly Kelly. All right, this is Silly Kelly. And then we're on the set and here during the day. You don't usually see a daytime shoot. We can do a daytime shoot on occasion. Here in the shoot, it seemed appropriate to put out Facebook Internet Etiquette. Now you can ignore the etiquette police if you want to, or not. There seems to be just a lot of key things with internet etiquette that seem to go completely over people's heads because they get all excited and say, I want this thing now or that thing now, and I don't want to have to wait for it. So they're very impatient. Impatience is a common thread on there. Impatience has been a common thread with people for thousands of years. It's even scriptural. And when they look at the Bible, at the Corinthians and the chapter on love, the first thing is love is patient. Well, yeah. And then kind. So, but that was God's love. In this case, it's just the internet and the patterns of the ways of the world. It's not anything to do with the religion. Now, in the case of the Facebook etiquette, the number one thing people seem to do and do badly is responding to or an email. They like to see an email where somebody makes a suggestive comment or somebody makes a mean comment, and they immediately have to reply that they're really ticked off, or make an audio blog about being really ticked off, and then and like neglected or whatever, and they're ticked off, right? So they make this big brouhaha about really what is nothing, because the other person isn't there. And if the other person is there, then they respond and they're ticked off, and then it starts this big war. It's like if they just thought about what they were doing before they did it, which is unusual behavior, to think about what you're doing before you did it, and they thought, okay, let's not be ticked off right now. Let's think, should I type this email that pisses this person off I'm upset with? No, they shouldn't do that. Just think about it first and say, okay, I should think about that before I do that, and not do that. And that'll save a whole lot of wars from happening. They won't happen, because you'll have number ones, be patient, think about what you're thinking about, think about what you're doing first, and don't necessarily do it. Because it's always better to make peace than war. Even in the blog sphere. Okay, the next thing, let's see. The next thing about the interwebs is once you got a new Facebook friend, and there's lots of those, or an acquaintance or whatnot, there's a tendency to overexpose yourself, no, literally, on the internet, telling your problems to them, or just contacting them over and over again. And that creeps them out. Don't do that. That's not a good thing to do, because it will put them off. So don't do that. Don't put on like overzealous comments just because you met somebody for the first time and you're like, ooh, I gotta do this or that. Or if it's somebody you used to know in school or something. It doesn't mean they necessarily want to talk to you that much. You'll creep them out. So don't do that. That's another thing you shouldn't do. That causes wars too, but to a lesser extent, it causes them to delete the friend page. Yeah, so those are basic internet etiquette rules there. Okay, we're going to dabble into relationships a little bit, which I know very little about, but I'm going to do it anyways. Because this is, of course, an opinion. Now, the third rule of internet etiquette is that if you have a girlfriend or boyfriend on the internet, and same thing goes for that other thing, and patience and all that, don't go bragging to everybody that you know, ooh, this guy is mine, and put up your status as taken and all that other stuff. And, ooh, I'm in a relationship, it's complicated or whatever. Ooh, and mention the relationship right away and put that up, and it causes too much problems. Just put it's complicated for a while until you decide, you both decide whether it's cool to put up in a relationship. Don't just jump the gun and say it first. That's on that one, if you got a girlfriend, or whatever. So wait on that one. Okay, what else? Let's see. Now, let's see. And this is a cool little blog where we can talk about internet etiquette. Let's see, what else? Yeah. Okay, say somebody harangues you, harasses you on there, and they're upset because you like that guy or whatever, and they're jealous, and they're haranguing you, or whatever, they're bullying, cyberbullying or whatever. Don't take it upon yourself to talk back at them and yell at them and stuff, and call them all kinds of names and make up a blog about how they're a bitch or whatnot, or catty, or in the case of a guy, they're a jerk or an ass or whatever. Just block them. Just block them. It pisses them off. Just say, I'm blocking you. Don't even say I'm blocking you. Just block them. And then don't talk to them. What are they going to do? It's the internet. They can't do anything at that point. They're blocked. Oh well. They pissed you off? They're blocked. Cool. Psst. So they want to come back? They want to come back. Hey, whatever. That's what you do with them. It's like ignoring, only meaner. Well, it's not mean, but if somebody's being mean to you, why not just, block them? Bleep. They can't do anything. It's the internet. They can't do anything. I mean, they could hack you, but why would they do that? Most of the time, cyberbullies are not interested in pursuing the cyberbullying. They're just pissed because you're still pissed. And they're just doing it because they got a rise out of you. So all you got to do is block them. And they'll never get a rise out of you. That's a good one. Let's see what else. How about okay, how about this one? And it happens all the time. It's not just any one person. This blog thing is meant for across the board. Not naming any names of anybody. Just what I've encountered over the years on Facebook over the past. Was on MySpace from 2006 to roughly 2008. Switched over to Facebook around 2008, 2009. And although I was on it a little bit in 2007, but not too much. So yeah, Facebook was better. So we went over to Facebook. Also YouTube channels. Now people have a tendency on Facebook etiquette to... It's the impatience factor again. They find somebody who's cute or attractive. And they're like, I'm going to obsess over this person. I'm going to sit there on my computer or whatever. They're thinking this, right? And they're like, why isn't this person contacting me? Now I'm mad. Or they're thinking, why did this person notice me? Because I like them. And they should notice me. They should be able to read my mind. Be able to tell I'm interested in them. And I'm putting stuff all over the wall and little smiley faces or whatever. Girls do this a lot. Guys, they just put in other stuff. But it's like they've creeped the person out at this point. So they don't want to have anything to do with them. And then they're still going on about them, say, oh, how great and wonderful they are. And then they get mad and they go to their friends and they say, oh, look, so-and-so is an ass because they don't want to talk to me. Of course they don't want to talk to you. You've just creeped them out royally and they don't want to. So instead of doing all that obsessive stuff, because the guy doesn't know you, or girl, in this case, doesn't know you exist, in whatever case it is. If they don't know you exist, don't put all that stuff on there. You're just going to creep them out and they're going to block you. Don't do that. Ask them. Go to them and ask them to be friends and send them a message. If they don't want to be friends, they don't want a message, just one message, put it on there, friend request. Ask them a message first. Don't friend request them first. Friend message first. Message first. If they don't respond to the message, that person's not interested in you, so drop the person. Don't harangue them. Yeah, just that person's not interested in you. So if they're not interested, oh well. Also that particular etiquette helps if they actually have like their the setting for the person you like just happens to have a lot of their information part of their little Facebooky thing. Their information tells a little bit about them if they haven't blocked that. And you're not saying you should go into people's block thing. Don't do that. Don't hack people. I'm saying if it's common knowledge. If the common knowledge page says the little info about them. If you go on there and you're like, say, let's say you're interested in gaming or something. And you go on there and their info says they're not interested in gaming. They're interested in Shakespeare. I'm just putting out an example. I'm going to guess that they're not going to be interested because you don't have common interests. Like if you are really interested in like Star Trek and they hate it. They put up something that says, I don't like that. Or if they usually don't. But that kind of thing. or if or they're interested in math and you're interested in art or something else, you know. Also, a good way to tell somebody if you might like them or they might be interesting is what kind of education they have. If you have none, if you're just a high school student, you graduated high school or whatnot, it's usually for a college student to get this thing. But yeah, okay, they just graduated and whatever, and this other person has university degrees, and they've gone, they're like a math wizard, or they're interested in croquet or whatever it is. Cricket, and they have a BMW or whatever. That's a rich guy. He's probably not going to be interested in just graduated college student. Probably not going to happen. Just brand new college student. Probably not. Maybe, who knows, but probably not. That would the message thing would work wonders for. So message. I would advise not doing anything rash or irrational on the internet. Don't get mad at your friends and post stuff saying you weren't, you know, going to do this or going to do that. Because it's just going to make your friends disappear from your Facebook thing. If you whine a lot, that's a good one. Okay, the next one is you whine a lot. If you whine a lot on Facebook, they like that. But it's still not a good idea to whine too much and say, oh, I'm having a horrible day, because like, frankly, with some other people out there, they don't want to hear it. Especially if you do it all the time. If you're like, ooh, I'm a sad sack, you know. They don't want to hear it. So they won't respond. Well, so what you got to do, if you're going to whine, that's fine, but sometimes have some fun and get over it, go to see a movie, do something else. Don't sit there obsessing about why your friends aren't contacting you about that whiny little event you put out there on the internet. Whatever it is, I'm not saying names. I've put whiny events out there too. And don't do that, because you're just going to lose friends on your friends finder thing. They're just going to go away. So don't do that, because that's just not cool. Let's see what else. Okay, on the flip side of that, don't be bragging about how awesome you are and your awesome video, especially if it isn't really awesome. Don't be bragging pridefully about how you won the greatest thing ever and awesome and stuff, or you got the new girlfriend, or you got a car or something. Too much, because pride cometh before the fall, as they say, and it's probably not a good idea to be prideful either.